after rookie minicamp ended, Omar Khan surprised us with, I don't know, a press conference that I didn't see coming. I didn't think the Steelers were going to. So my start for the Omar Khan thing is this. Omar has said literally nothing all offseason. He has perfected the art of not saying a word. It's not even like saying things that don't matter like Tomlin does. It's legit saying nothing. And I've been looking at it going, all right, like Omar, dude, love you. Great guy. Always fun to have you around. Super grateful to be able to be in your presence. You're literally, I'm not here for anything. This is pointless. Today, they sent him in to address the George Pickens thing. And I'm going to be honest, he opened up a little bit. And I think it was very important. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Omar Khan has literally been running the charge of, we are not trading George Pickens. I don't even know why you would ask the question of us, but believing that even trading George Pickens could be a thought, because we would never trade George Pickens. That's been the sentiment from Pittsburgh throughout the entire offseason until they finally traded George Pickens. And then Omar said this one. He said, quote, "The Cowboys reached out during the week and we had some conversations internally and with George's agent, Dave. We discussed where things were with George, where they are and where things could go. We think it makes sense for everyone." I mean, you hear that, my thoughts immediately went, okay, they told George, you're not going to get a deal this offseason. We have signed DK Metcalf. Are you comfortable with that? George said, hell no, brother. Mason Rudolph's my starting quarterback right now. That's not going to get me the money I need. Either sign me or get me the hell out of here. And the Steelers said, great, we were planning on doing the second one anyways. That's how I took it, is that this thing was just a simple conversation of, George, you're not getting paid. That's great. And George going, fantastic, I'd like to leave, and then leaving. I'm not saying it was a trade request. I don't think it was. I think it was just a normal conversation of, this is where we are. What would you like us to do about it? And him saying how he felt in the matter. Do you feel any differently?
No, I think, and I might have read this wrong, but I think Omar Khan said explicitly that George never requested a trade.
Yes, he did.
So, I mean, if that's the exact verbiage that he used when he was talking about that too, then I certainly believe that is the case. But yeah, I think they made their decision when they acquired DK Metcalf, and that was the guy that they were going to give all this money to. So At that point, I think it comes down to just like this classic Steelers decision of, if we're not going to pay him, do we just cut bait? And I think Omar Khan's approach has gone from, instead of just cutting someone when you're done with them, to just getting whatever the maximum trade value is. And this happened to be the 3rd round pick for Pickens. So yeah, I don't think it sounded like he was trying to not cover up, but to be a little, what's the right word? A little bit extra nice about the situation, trying to give a little more nothing like Omar Khan does. But yeah, it just seemed to me like there wasn't as much drama as maybe I was hoping there was behind the scenes.
I agree. I do think cover up is the exact words you should be using, because that's what he was doing, was saying, hey, look, the Cowboys called us, and that's where things started. The Steelers were calling people. Maybe the Cowboys called them, in that situation. But the Steelers were just as open in this situation as they were. I think they were more open. That's they essentially just expedited the process. They said, this is going to happen in July. We're going to have this conversation in July. Chances are it's not going to go well. George doesn't have trade value right now as it is. So that trade value is not going to go up later in the summer. It's going to go down. All right, let's have this conversation. Let's see what's going on. I bet you that conversation was quick, smooth. And George said, Dallas, you're saying no income tax when they signed me to a massive contract extension? Fantastic. I think I could do that. That's how I took that. Now, when it comes to replacing him, I think people will be very upset with this one. He said, quote, "We wouldn't have done this if we didn't feel good about our receiver situation. It's not close to the same as last year. We've gotten another year in with these young guys and watched them develop. Roman Wilson's healthy. There's some excitement there. I will say this, that it is the same as last year. The Steelers are in no different shape whatsoever. The only difference is that they don't have a quarterback. And yes, I would take Robert Woods over Van Jefferson any day of the week. But sure, Roman Wilson is still a rookie. Calvin Austin is only getting 1 year older and more developed, obviously. But the number 2, I don't really know about that one. And you've brought literally nobody in. I mean, I don't know. Do you try? We're hearing from the smoke screen himself, Omar Khan. You trust that things are chilling, or you think he's already moving?
I mean, this is where I just fully am just like not listening at all to what he's saying, because that can't be true. That cannot be something that when Omar Khan lays his head to rest tonight, he is not thinking, man, this receiving room is just chef's kiss wonderful. Because it's not. It's a very bad one. So I think he knows that. I think it would be tipping his hand way too much to be like, right now we are in a very dire situation, and I'm turning over every stone to fix it, because that would just take away all of his leverage. So I think this was where all of the smoke screens were happening, and I was just kind of in one ear, out the other.
I agree. Like there's no chance that the Steelers are going to look. Omar's job, and he's getting really good at this. Omar's job right now is to save face. He's really good at saving face. He's phenomenal at it, but it doesn't mean that you could trust it right now. And I think in this instance, it's a good trust. It's a good can't trust. Nobody wants to sit here and say, "Oh, the Steelers aren't doing anything. They're just going to sit." No, they want everybody else to think our wide receiver room's fine. So when we call you and lowball you with an offer for some wide receiver, you don't think that we're desperate. That's what he's doing. There's literally no part of me that thinks Omar Khan is sitting around saying, yeah, we're good. We're in a good spot. This is going to be totally fine. I think here. Yeah, there's something coming. When it comes, I don't think it comes until after minicamp, but I do anticipate something coming at some point. Who, I don't know. We could dive into options for days, but where we sit here right now, I do think that the Steelers are actively looking for a wide receiver. I know a lot of people are going to ask me about the rookies. I will say that I did not see anything today from anybody to say that you are going to replace George Pickens, but I do think that, they're going to give it some effort. I've also heard this one today that I'll kind of toss out and end our agenda here with, because it's not on our rundown, but I think it's fun as we waste another 5 minutes here. So I got a phone call today. This is not George Pickens related, Omar Khan related. This is this whole other topic. Got a phone call today that said, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. Can you confirm that Colin Cowherd said that Aaron Rodgers isn't going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers until after the schedule release because he doesn't want night games or something like that?" I said, "Yeah, of course. I'll call you back in 5 minutes." So I already knew it was true, but I just, being courtesy, courtesy. You hang up, you say, "All right, sounds good." And then you call back 5 minutes, say, "Oh yeah, just watched it again. It was great." They said, "Yeah, that's bullshit." I said, "All right, sounds good. Sounds good." Now, this is a source close to both parties, I would say. Probably closer to Aaron's side than it is the Steelers side. And where we sit here right now, that is not the truth. But I will say, update on that is that, I think Aaron Rodgers is coming still right around minicamp OTAs, and I think a wide receiver is coming after that. Those are my new 2 predictions heading into this final phase.
I think that feels really logical right now. I think if that's the way they're going, it's going to end up being Rodgers and his buddy Alan Lazard coming over too. I think if at that point it's just going to be the full Aaron Rodgers show, and at that point let's just get into it. Just let them take over and go for it, because there's nothing else really on the docket for the offensive approach for heading into 2025. So I agree. Think that doesn't sound that off your rocker right now. No, you really don't.
I think at some point it is going to happen. I think it's wild that everything moves so slow. Like, that's what I'm learning this offseason. I actually had a conversation about this last night, is that like everything that is happening, it's happening so slowly that you're hearing all of these things so early, so in advance, and then the Steelers don't do anything for like 3 months, and you're like, wow, that was, like George Pickens, like that trade was essentially done in January, and then it just floated. Aaron Rodgers, the same thing. Like, it's just floating here.